Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the SET Florida Aviation Network. I'm Ben Coleman, your host for this event, and we want to thank you for tuning in to us here at the Oviedo Mall in Orlando. Oviedo is part of Orlando, so we call this our Orlando studio. And this is the Gizmo Productions USA, is where we're coming to you live today. This is a live presentation. We have, I'm going to say thousands, hundreds, maybe dozens of volunteers here helping us put this out for you. But Plane Time is it's a project of the National Aviation Safety Foundation, and it is on the Florida Aviation Network. That network is coming to you, we say, live and in the clear for a good reason. It is a live presentation. What's going on here is actually happening if you're watching this digitally streaming. If you're watching it pre-recorded, then just relax, enjoy. Hit the pause button, come back, hit the delete button, but you'll miss out on some really good information we come up with today. This is it's a project also that's being monitored by the FAA, and we're here to help you with the FAA. And that's almost a little twist on I'm with the FAA, I'm here to help you, if anybody ever heard that. It's really true. They are here to help you. Also here to kind of guide you in a direction you need to go if you're losing your way. So we will give Wings credit at the end of the second presentation. And so monitor that code, and if you're in the Wings program, great, use it. If you're not, get in the Wings program. Today, come all the way from a little city called Lakeland, Florida, Polk County, and we have Gene Conrad. Gene.
How are you, sir? Good morning.
I'm doing good. How was that drive?
It was great. It was actually really good this morning. It was 1 hour and 20 minutes. So I'm not going to complain. It was the best probably drive I've ever had coming all the way over here.
Good. And that kind of segues right into what we're going to be doing. And I think it's the 52nd Sun and Fun?
It is. It is 52. Red, white, and blue at 52. That's our tagline this year.
That's catchy.
Yes.
That's catchy. Gene, things are going well. And there's the wood.
Yep.
We always get excited and ramped up for Sun and Fun right after the conclusion of a Sun and Fun, because you're planning well in advance, sometimes years, literally.
Yep.
But how many days is it to the big event?
It is 87 days.
But who's counting?
I am counting every single day.
The event in the past, and there are people that have actually, and I had a hard time believing this, but there's people actually that's never been to Sun and Fun as far as a live spectator in attendance. There's no way to encapsulate what you're missing out on. And is it like Oshkosh? Two different events, and very much different, but similar in some ways. What would you tell somebody if they had never been to Sun and Fun, why they should come join us during that April period of time?
Well,
why should you come Sun and Fun?
Well, first of all, it's a good time of year because it's not so cold down here in Florida come April. But we're fortunate, as this being our 52nd fly-in, and being a volunteer organization. I mean, 52 years. For an organization to be where we are today, and also the things we'll talk about here later, for us to be able to produce, through the Aerospace Center for Excellence educational program that we have, it all starts back to the people that believed in, interested in aviation, the volunteers that have been with us for over 50 years, to create an environment and a fly-in like we have today. Reference our good friends up at EAA Oshkosh at AirVenture. We grew up out of that organization, so we are similar. We are probably about a quarter of the size of that event. I was born up there, as I'm sure some people know. I was born up there. My dad ran the airport when I was a kid, and I volunteered up there for the last 37 years in airshow operations. I handle all the airshow performers up there, but they're similar. You can see some of the same things. But what I will say in reference to Sun and Fun and our event, it's much easier to get around. And a lot of the same things are there, but we're very fortunate. Again, we had our 51st last year, turn up the fun at 51. So we had a great event. It was a record year for us. We had over 210,000 people back in April. On Saturday alone, we had 18,000 cars we parked. So we had over 60,000 people that were on the site with us. Over 700 media representatives, 561 exhibitors last year, which was a record for us. And I will tell you, this year for 52, we are going to break that record. We're close to it already, and we're still 87 days out. But for us, it's a flying, it's about family, it's about camaraderie, it's about aviation and like-minded folks getting together to have a good time and celebrate. And what's most important about the fly-in and what we do and why it's important, if you can volunteer and you have the time to come join us and the other 3,000 volunteers that are with us that are so important to our event, is the net proceeds from everything that we do, from the fly-in, go back into what we call the other 51 weeks out of the year, to our parent company at the Aerospace Center for Excellence and all of our educational programming, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But what we have on our campus at KLAL, Lakeland International Airport, and what's happening in Polk County, not just in Lakeland, I will tell you, it does not exist anywhere else in the world. It is impressive stuff, and thanks to all the people, obviously, that have come before myself, all the volunteers, and all the people that believed in the partners that we have to produce what we have today. It is unbelievable stuff. So I'm ready to get into it when you are.
Well, you need to get a little bit more excited, Gene.
Yes, I'm passionate about this stuff. So
and we're going to get into what's happening in the future on the next segment.
Sure.
But let's develop what has happened so far. In a very short reign, you've only been there now for what?
It'll be 4 years in March.
I was going to say 6. Seemed longer than that. 4 years.
I was at the airport for 12. So
wow, and you had black hair
yes,
4 years ago.
I'm now 50. Thank you. Yes.
But and you brought up the thing about why people should go to some, and for pretty much the same reason we're doing this right now is sometimes we can get a lot of information on this thing here, and when we do person to person, press the flesh, eyeball to eyeball, it seems to have more impact on you, and some people are losing that ability to actually communicate. Again, thanks to some of the things going on here with the cell phones. But this is so important to kind of get across, of going live to see something, and the performers, the vendors, the wares that they have to offer. The technology is going crazy.
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll be talking more about advanced air mobility in the next segment. But, well, I can't stand myself. Go ahead. There's something fixed to go on in Polk County that's very unusual as well, that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, we were talking about it prior to this in reference to advanced air mobility, kind of just switching gears a little bit. So in Polk County, we have what's called SunTrax. And so the Florida Department of Transportation built this racetrack, and there's internal pieces to it as well to test autonomous vehicles. And the state announced probably, 60 days ago or whatnot, they are going to build out an advanced air mobility facility at SunTrax right there in Polk County, to test these new systems and these new aircraft that are coming on board and get them ready to go, to introduce them to the National Airspace System and to the NAS and get it ready to go. So again, a lot of things in Polk County, but what's important to have that in Polk County is you need people to be involved. You need people, you need young folks to get interested to help these industries and help our industry. And again, when you think about, Sun and Fun, and again, the net proceeds going back into our educational programming, our mission at the Aerospace Center for Excellence, our parent company, is to engage, educate, and accelerate the next generation of aerospace professionals. And that's what we're doing the rest of the year. I get asked quite a bit, you must be bored over at Sun and Fun, because you worked at the airport. There's probably, you probably don't start planning until January. I'm like, well, actually we start, pretty much years ahead of time and the day after an event ends. But our teams and what they're doing on the educational side of the house, it is phenomenal stuff. So when you think about how do we engage these folks, during Sun and Fun alone, there's 18,000 youth that come through that are ticketed. 12 and under are free. So we try to make it obviously accessible for them to get in. But we also have another 2,500 kids that are bussed in. Because our spring break doesn't match up. We're not in the summer, so kids and families are still doing their daily routines and going to school and going to work. But these kids, we're busing them in from around Central Florida to come enjoy the event. Obviously the Florida Air Museum, we're the official air museum for the state of Florida, which we're getting ready to do some upgrades to here shortly. But we have over 12,000 people come through the Florida Air Museum, another 8,000 youth through the year, which those folks are free. And then on Tuesday morning, because our mantra is cradle to cockpit, right? So at Tuesday at 10 a.m., if you want to come by and check it out, 2 to 5 year olds, anywhere from 100 to 150 2 to 5 year olds, their parents or grandparents come in for story time, because we're just introducing them to aviation, to STEM, and that's how we get them, super early. And then our programming takes them basically all the way through college, and we support them there as well. So when you think about our summer camps, we had over 240 kids in our summer camps this year, 176 on the wait list, so we are expanding our summer camps this year. We have STEM Sprouts, our educational enrichment program. So there are 17,000 homeschooled kids in Polk County. So we started with pre-K through kindergarten, and now we're doing it pre-K through 5th grade. So on Mondays, those kids are coming in. So pre-K through 5th grade, we have programs for them. And then what's a really cool program we have going on, this is actually our 3rd year. We have our field trip program. So 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in Polk County and Polk County schools. We are busing these kids in to our Skylab Innovation Center from all over the county in partnership with the Lakeland Airport, Bartow, Winter Haven, and Lake Wales. They put up all the funding. These are pre-approved field trips. The teachers don't even have to ask permission. The bus, we're paying for the busing. We pay for all the supplies, everything. Get these kids in so we can introduce them to aviation and STEM.
Fred Hyde has been really supportive on that.
Super supportive, and it makes it, our biggest thing is just to take the things that tend to get no answers, busing and things like that, to take those opportunities to say no away. That's why we're paying for the busing, paying for the material, so it's free to all these kids that are coming in. And then when you think about our very, very special, Central Florida Aerospace Academy, that program started back in 2008. Mr. Ray came to visit us in 2010, stroked a check for $7.5 million. We built that high school. This year there's over 386 kids in there, and they're doing great things. But because of the success of all of these things, then we have the offshoots with the Lakeland Aero Club, and their 10,000 square foot hangar, and their 3 Piper Cubs, and they're restoring and working on aircraft nonstop. So that program's pretty robust, and again, because of this success and what's happening in Polk County, you have the Central Florida Aerospace Academy at Winter Haven's Gilbert Field. So you have kids, 250 kids in portables at that airport. It's attached to Winter Haven High School, that are doing the same things that we're doing in Lakeland. Then you have the Aspiring Aviators Club that's at Winter Haven's Gilbert Field, like our Lakeland Aero Club. We're supporting that, through grant awards as well, through the Aerospace Center for Excellence and our efforts at Sun and Fun. And then I don't know if you know this or not. Do you know that there is now, through Travis Career College, there's an air traffic control program at Bartow Executive Airport?
I did know that.
Did you know that?
But it's only because I picked it up from Fred.
Oh, yes.
I was talking to Fred.
Yeah,
Hyde,
but what's
that's
so
great.
What is so cool about this, though? So obviously Bartow has a tower. They operate it themselves. So at Lakeland, we're a federal contract tower. They're federal towers, but this is a private tower operated by the staff at Bartow Airport. But several years ago, John Helms there, the airport director, he engaged with the state. They built out, they renovated a building for about $1.5 million. They put these systems in there. So Travis Career College is in there now with their program. So they're teaching young people to become air traffic controllers, to get their CTO. So when they graduate, they get their CTO, and they're going into towers, into federal contract towers. And then also inside that building, there's another room. And John Helms, what an innovator, working with Florida Department of Transportation, their engineering firm, Hanson, I believe it is. They have working, what is the company? They have virtual tower at Bartow now. So on top of the tower, they have a gigantic camera system, and in the building, they have a bunch of LED screens that go 360 degrees. I will say, as an old airport director, I was a little, how is this going to work? But I went to go visit. It is unbelievable stuff.
It's impressive.
What you can see and what they can do, so they can operate all their air traffic in and out. They're not doing it yet, but they can do it in Bartow, operate all the traffic out of that building. And then next to that display for Bartow, next to it is another display of screens. The intent is they're going to put another virtual tower camera system at Winter Haven's airport. to control the traffic there. So they'll be able to sit in the building in Bartow to control the air traffic that's going in and out of Winter Haven. It is pretty cool stuff. I have seen it as a former airport director. The things you can do with it is unbelievable. We were sitting in Bartow watching traffic, actually, because we can zoom in far enough, watching traffic go into Lakeland from Bartow. That's how great these cameras are. It is impressive stuff. So anyway,
Vertower
yes,
is working that up. And Gene, have you been to? We have ants on the table.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, crawling up my alarm. But anyway, Oklahoma City. Have you been out to the air traffic control?
I have not.
Because they have a virtual setup, a cab.
Yep.
And literally, it's usually nighttime, because it's dark. But it's old-fashioned AI. But they actually would have traffic on the screens all the way around, and they'd have ghost pilots that would be behind a wall talking to the trainees, and it literally is set up as a real functioning control tower.
Yep.
And this, much similar, is a virtual aspect, but the takeaway is the same: multitasking and you weren't an air traffic controller, were you?
No, I wanted to be. If I had to go back and do it all over again, I would actually be an air traffic controller. So it is just cool technology. And I will say Travis Career College and their program, to your point, having those screens up in Oklahoma, they have all those screens, but it's all computer based. So they're having to talk to the air traffic, and then the computer is repeating things back to them.
AI.
Right? It is cool stuff. I mean, it is, and you can increase the tempo. You can have one aircraft a minute. You can have, you can set up all kinds of different scenarios and things like that. But it is pretty impressive stuff. All to go back to, again, in Polk County, and all of the aviation opportunities and aspects of what's happening is unbelievable. One thing we didn't talk about too, Travis Career College and their airframe and power plant program that's right there on our campus in Lakeland. Now there's 2 shifts, so there's 70 young adults in that program. And why that is so important, I believe it's about $16,000 for them for a 2-year program to get their A&P certificate. You can go to private institutions for that, and it's well over $50,000, $60,000. So it is much easier for them to get it done. And for the future, and we'll talk about it here in the second segment, we need to get more young folks involved. But I will tell you, any of those young folks, once they graduate, they are immediately getting plucked out and getting jobs.
Yeah.
We can't produce enough fast enough.
They're not going to go hungry.
No, they are not.
And the big thing is getting folks into the trade. And this is the Aerospace Center for Excellence is just one aspect of things going on the campus there. But you're really totally involved with the education and the proliferation of aviation and aerospace, because it's not the little airplanes. They got to fly the little ones before they get to the big ones, but they got to fly the big ones in order to get to the automatic ones, and it's coming, folks. It is coming. The day is going to be here. The autonomous operations, vertical lift. There's so much technology going on.
Yep.
I need to plug myself in about 40 years ago to really enjoy what's about to happen.
Yep.
But all we can do from us old timers is just bring people to talk to you on the set, like this man. You got the ATC jargon down, man. You would be a killer.
Well, I told you I wanted to do it. I mean, growing up at Oshkosh, trust me, all I did was have my handheld and listen to the air traffic coming in and out. So if they ever needed someone, or at Sun and Fun, if they needed someone to jump in the tower, I probably need someone to supervise me, but I probably could do it.
You could do it. You could do it. I just lost my thought. That doesn't happen very often, but when it happens, it's big. It's gone.
Well,
Gene, it was gone.
Let's go back to one thing. So one thing we didn't talk about.
Did I tell you this is live?
Yes,
I did tell you this is live.
It is live, but
okay.
See, I can pick up for you too. So we're friends. So.
You cover me.
But one thing we didn't talk about is when autonomous or air mobility, vertiports, and all of that. With those aircraft, that's one thing. But the drone technology and unmanned aerial systems, that is exploding. And if you're on LinkedIn or you're watching social media, what's happening with Amazon, for example, and they're delivering in other states. They're delivering packages and dropping them off in people's front yards, and that's Jetsons type stuff. So it's happening. They're getting integrated in the National Airspace System. It's happening as we speak, and every day we're getting closer and closer. You're going to see a lot more of that as well. And that technology, it's still new.
It came back to me. I got it. I captured it. Okay, here's the thing. All of these drones and everything, they still have maintenance requirements.
Yes.
A lot of maintenance. And, well, not a lot, but it's things that's programmed that you have to do a lot of preventative maintenance, like charge your batteries. What a concept.
Yeah, and to that point, I would tell you, we need manufacturers of drones here in the United States because our legislators, we can't fly drones over airports that are made in China, for example. They have to be American made. So, there's really an opportunity for young entrepreneurs. Not everybody has to be a pilot or a mechanic, air traffic controller. Go build drones and start a company because there's a need.
There's different ways to get your aviation aeronautical fix. There is, and it couldn't be a better time to be involved with this industry, the aerospace industry. And we need folks that know how to fix stuff.
Yep.
Work with your hands. Tactile functions or eye-hand coordination is one thing for flying an aircraft or operating a drone. But doing the maintenance is really, really key to keeping them in a safe area where they don't fall on people. And they will fall, and they can cut you. Those props or rotor blades are singing pretty good up there. Gene, I think we had a drone demonstration last year.
Yes.
I was in the production studios the whole time, so I didn't get out to that, but. How many drones do we have operating roughly?
Well, actually, there's several drone operations happening during the flying. So during the air show or the night shows, we have drones up. In Sunset Aerial Circus, we work with the company. They bring in several hundred drones, and they're bringing several hundred more this year versus last year. So there's going to be a lot of drones up.
The night show.
Yes, the night show, and then Sunset Aerial Circus. But we also had Wing Aviation, I believe, is the company, one of our sponsors. They were doing drone deliveries on the site. Right, so we get prior approval and all of that stuff, and they've got their own, landing pads or whatnot. But we are doing deliveries basically out by Paradise City, where the light sport aircraft is, and the grass strip, over to the island, and then from that location by Paradise City, also over to the Future in Flight Plaza, and doing drone deliveries and dropping things off. So pretty cool stuff. And that's one thing about Sun and Fun. Anything in aviation, you want to see it, it's going to be there. Or someone's going to be talking about it. Our forums and our workshops, talking about being hands-on and working with your hands. Come out and participate in our workshops and work with fabric covering a wing ribs, welding,
rivet,
bending metal, do cool stuff. So there's plenty of opportunities.
Pounding rivets, pulling rivets, all that.
That's it.
The Lakeland Aero Club, they have a pretty small footprint there on the campus, but they got their own little runway over there, little grass strip.
Yep.
And I think we're going to be seeing more happen out of that facility. They're doing a reasonable amount of restorations now, but the plans that I see, and particularly folks coming over from Travis, is another jumping off point to get your feet wet, get your hands dirty, and it's really an impressive organization that we have there in Lakeland.
Yeah.
And it's duplicatable, and you guys are trying to duplicate it as much as you can.
Yeah, we try to help everybody. We have, folks from around the country that are coming in to see, what we've been able to accomplish, and not just us, obviously all the partners that are involved. There's a lot, right? And everybody has to be rowing in the same direction. And we tell folks, you can give me all the money in the world, I can go duplicate buildings all over the place. It's super easy. But if you do not have a community that everybody's not rowing in the same direction, they're not on board, it can be difficult. The stars just happened to align for us in Polk County because of Sun and Fun, and the history of over 52 years, everybody's rowing in the same direction. So we're very fortunate. Reference to Lakeland Aero Club, I will tell you something that's happening over there that a lot of people aren't aware of. So we have our James Ray Scholarship Program, right? So by owning the school, the lease payments that we receive from Polk County Public Schools going to our foundation. we provide 100% scholarships for any kid that goes to those schools, whether it's CFA, Winter Haven, or ours in Lakeland, or live in Polk County, get the private pilot certificate for free. So last year we awarded 30 scholarships to young folks, and these are anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 scholarships. But what we have found through the Lakeland Aero Club and the efforts of Mike Z, who is the former director of the Lakeland Aero Club, is we have our glider program as well. So we are sending these kids up to Zephyr Hills, and there's a team of these folks that are going up there. So what happens is, they can start doing this at 14, get their glider rating, and then once they transition to power, and getting a 172, 150, get the time, built up, they're getting their private pilot certificates for about $7,500 versus anywhere from 10 to 12. So they have money left over then to go work on their IFR and get that done as well. So they basically can get the private and their IFR rating with that one scholarship going through the glider program. So that's something, if people want to contact us, I'll tell you, I am not. There are other people more versed in it. I know enough to be dangerous.
You just know where to point them.
But it's a cool program because there's money to be saved by getting your private pilot certificate by going glider first, for these young people, and then going to power.
The most important thing, we won't get too much in the technology of it, but glider flying is energy management, and that's the key. Because people ask, well, when you're flying an airplane and your engine stops, you stall and you die. No, you don't. Now you have a glider. So you just need to know how to operate that glider without an engine, and you can land safely.
Manage the energy.
Manage that energy and maintain control. That's the whole thing.
And these kids coming out of the program, starting with glider, they are good stick and rudder kids too. So it is good stuff.
And it comes in real handy.
Yes.
When you least likely suspect it.
Hopefully you never have to deal with it, but things happen.
You be prepared.
Yep.
Another thing as far as the hand-to-hand contact on these airplanes and the people, we are a sliver of society in the aerospace and aviation community. I think it's 0.2%. There's 600,000 pilots roughly. When you look at the big picture, it's a small number. However, aviation and aerospace has such a large impact on just about every aspect of our life.
Yep.
And that's something that we're gonna really pull out the next segment. Gene, we're gonna start to wind this one up.
Okay.
And we're going to get really pumped up for talking about the future at Sun and Fun.
Yes.
And
I
red,
like
white,
that.
red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue at 52.
Okay. All right. Let's see you next segment.
All right.
Take care. See you next time.